We have come at last to that day so longed for, New Year's Eve, 2020. I was asked today how I thought this year might be remembered, what people would call this time of pandemic. Would it be the great flu of 2020? Would it be the epidemic? What would we call it? I wonder if it would be like 9/11. All we'd have to do is say 2020, and we would all know what we were talking about. Whatever the case, it is good that we have reached an end. For now we can dare to hope. We know deep in our hearts that things will not change magically tomorrow, no matter how hard we want them. But that there is hope, that we have seen the worst of 2020. It is fascinating that on New Year's Eve, the story that is associated with this day is the story of the final judgment. And perhaps it's not so strong in the midst of hopes and dreams and resolutions to be reminded of that story of Jesus separating the nations like sheep and goats. We all too often take this story personally, individually. But it is a story about nations, about community. How do we fare as a nation, as a commonwealth, as a community, as a family, as a church, under the challenges of the judgment? What's very interesting in the story is that it's not about any single political ideology. It's not about a charismatic leader. It's not being able to recite the right credo. It's not about possessing the right set of beliefs. It's not championing a particular social cause. It's about how we deal with the least of these, our brothers and sisters. It is not about handouts, though. It is about daring to get dirty, to enter into the muck and the mire of their daily existence, and to work alongside of them, with them, in caring and support. How well do we do that in the communities that we belong to? Who are the least of these, our brothers and sisters, where we live? Who are they in our neighborhoods, our communities? Who are they in our states, our nation? Where do they exist in the world? And how do we get down and dirty with them? What's very interesting in the story is that Jesus speaks of nothing more than a cup of cold water. It doesn't take much to change the world, because it's not all about us. God is in this project too. He has called us to be healers and bringers of hope, to bear the cup of cold water, to speak a word of hope in the midst of despair, to be a light in the darkness, to be a hand, clasping hand, not a handout. How will we begin to turn things around in 2021? In our lives, in our communities, in our nation, in the world. Where are the cups of cold water that we can bring to the table for the least of these, our brothers and sisters? It doesn't take much to make a difference. In God's hands, it doesn't take much to change the world. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to all. I thought as how this day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rung so long the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to all. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to all. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep, God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to all.